me. I am back for my favourite thing in the world, fractions learning. Yesterday you found a quarter. Now today we are going to look at quarters as halves. So I'm going to give you some information relating to what we've learned already. So on Tuesday we found halves. Now when you found half, you split something in half. So I need you to remember that finding a half is the same as dividing by 2. Can you say that with me? Finding a half is the same as dividing by 2. And finding a quarter is the same as dividing by 4. Okay, can you say it with me? Finding a quarter is the same as dividing by 4. You might want to write these down if you'd like to remember them. Okay, but it really helps my brain if I think a half, okay, split it in half into 2 pieces, and quarters are into 4, which is half and half again. Okay, so going over some of our learning so far, we've learned about half and quarters. So we're going to say the stem sentence for this fraction here together. So fraction arms out, so ready? Fraction arms out. Okay, 2 equal parts make my whole, and I have 1 of those equal parts. Okay, together. 2 equal parts make my whole, and I have 1 of those equal parts. So let's have a look what that looks like. 2 equal parts, and I have 1 of those equal parts. Okay, and with a 2 equal parts make my whole, and I have 1 of those equal parts. Okay, let's look at a quarter. So fraction arms out, we ready? Okay, 4 equal parts make my whole, and I have 1 of those equal parts. So I'm actually going to draw the same shape. Use my wobbly lines. So 4 equal parts make my whole, and I have 1 of those equal parts. And again, here's my whole. 4 equal parts make my whole, and I have 1 of those equal parts. Okay, so we've learnt that so far. Absolutely fabulous. You've done amazing at that. Today, we're going to start looking at a fraction of quarters with a different numerator. So, I'm going to write it for you here. 2 is my numerator. 4 is my denominator. Okay, oh, that 2's a bit rubbish. Goodness me. Okay, right, are we ready to say our stem sentence? Fraction arms out. Okay, starting at the bottom of our denominator. 4 equal parts make my whole, and I have 2 of those equal parts. Okay, together. 4 equal parts make my whole, and I have 2 of those equal parts. Okay, so let's do the same shapes. In line. 4 equal parts make my whole, and I have 2 of those equal parts. Can you notice anything yet? Okay. 4 equal parts make my whole, and I have 2 of those equal parts. Okay, so I want you to have 30 seconds to have a little think. What do you notice about our half and our 2 quarter? What do you notice about our half and our 2 quarters? Can you tell me? Okay, so you are probably correct. They are the same, aren't they? They look exactly the same. If I had this piece of cake and I gave you that part and I had that part, you'd be happy because they're equal. And if I give you this part and I had this part, you'd also be happy because they are exactly the same. But here we are cutting the cake into 2 pieces, 2 equal parts. That's our denominator. But here we're cutting them into 4 equal parts, but we still have the same amount. Okay, so our learning today is based on the fact that a half is equal to 2 quarters. A half is equal to 2 quarters. Or a half is the same as 2 quarters. Okay, now we're going to use a big word today, and it is equivalent. Can you say equivalent? Equivalent. So So we can also say a half is equivalent to 2 quarters. Okay, a half is equivalent to 2 quarters. So sometimes you might be asked to show 2 quarters and sometimes you might be asked to show a half, and that's fine. All it's saying is that the whole is cut into 2 pieces for a half and the whole is cut into 4 pieces for 2 quarters. But you can use your brain to help you. Okay, so here's an example. Here is a rectangle. Okay, and here is another rectangle. Okay, we're going to pretend this is a big piece of chocolate. Now, when I'm showing a half, I'm going to put it into 2 equal parts. Split into 2 equal parts. Okay, now when I am looking at quarters, I'm going to cut them into 4 equal parts. So I'm going to half it, and I'm going to half it again. Now, the whole is exactly the same, isn't it? Our whole amount are the same. But the only thing that's different is here I've got 2 parts, here I have got 4 parts, halves and quarters. Now, I'm going to share it with you, Alice, and I'm going to decide that Alice is going to get this part here. And that shows a half, because 2 equal parts make my whole, and Alice has one of those equal parts. Now here, I have got my quarters. Now if I gave Alice this amount, it wouldn't be fair, would it? Can you tell me what fraction that would be? 4 equal parts make my whole, and I have one of those equal parts. That would be a quarter. And then I would have 3 quarters. Now that's not fair. So I want to have 2 quarters. There we go. And as you can see again, they are completely equivalent. Now this time, I'm going to draw, where can you see? Let me move my board over. I'm going to draw 2 circles. Now, this one, at this pizza place, they've cut it into half. And at this pizza place, they've cut it into quarters. And I'm going to share it with you. Now straight away, I can say, with my brain, I can just see it. I'm going to give you this part. And then I'm going to give you these 2 pieces. And I've not had to work out that's 2 quarters and that's a half, because I can see straight away that this is 2 quarters because it is equivalent to a half. Okay, so I'm going to show you what you've got to do for your work. I've taken it straight from our Power Maths book that we use in school. So the questions are easy to start off with and they gradually get a little bit harder. So just do what you can. Okay, just do whatever you can do is absolutely fine. Okay, so I'm going to show you the sheets now. I will upload them onto Dojo. Okay, but you can also just pause the screen and copy the answers. Write number 1 and write the answers next to it. Okay, please let us know if you need any help. I'm so impressed with you. It is quite tricky to learn about fractions over YouTube because usually we'd have lots of equipment out and we'd be colouring things in, so you are doing amazing, so well done.
Okay, question number 1. It says tick the images that have half shaded. So which ones have half shaded? Now remember, they might be cut into different equal parts, but remember what half is the same as. So what I'd like you to do is write 1, 2, 3, 4 and tick it or cross it whether it's got a half. Or you can draw the pictures out in your books and you can give it a tick if it does show a half. Okay. Question number 2. It says shade 2 quarters and shade a half. So what I like to do is to draw this in your book. Now if I was you, I'd just draw 4 squares in a line, and here I draw 4 squares in a line. Shade 2 quarters, shade a half, and what do you notice about it? Okay, now remember, finding a quarter is the same as dividing by 4, and finding a half is the same as dividing by 2. So even though there are 4 parts here, you will be able to find a half. Okay. Next part. So, question 3. It says, write in the missing fractions. Match each statement to the fraction. Okay, so what you've got to do is to have a look at this fraction here and tell me how you'd write it. So, how many equal parts make my whole? And how many parts do I have? How many equal parts make the whole? And how many equal parts do I have? How many equal parts make the whole, and how many equal parts do I have? Okay, after you have done that, you need to tell me if that is less than a half, so is it smaller, is it equal to a half, the same, or is it greater than a half, bigger than a half? And you can see by comparing them here. Okay, so here it wouldn't be 5 equal parts make my whole, and I have 3 of those equal parts, because here it is divided into 4. Okay, and finally, this is a trickier question you can challenge yourself to have a go at. It says Harry has 2/4 of the cherries. Ali has half of the cherries. They each have cherries. They have the same amount, because a half and 2/4 are, what's that word that we learned? Okay, have a good go at it, and then if you want to afterwards, you could draw some shapes and show halves and quarters to show your learning so far. Well done, everybody.